Hey, what's up? Oh. Shoot, I forgot about that. I'm sorry. I will do that right now. Okay. Oh, hey, Dad.
Allie, did you wash the car like I asked?
Not yet. Sorry. Ooh, forgot about that too. Yeesh. What is going on? My to-do list cannot be this long. Stop. Please. Stop. Make it stop. Broken window. Great. Add that to the list too. There has to be a better way to handle this. I think most of us have a tendency to get totally overwhelmed by everything we need to do in our lives. It can be really hard to figure out how to even organize it all, let alone actually accomplish the tasks on our to-do list. In Getting Things Done, author David Allen gives you a way to get your to-do list out of your head and into an organized external system, so you can actually focus your mental energy on being present and productive. So you can get them all done and also enjoy your life. It's important. We should be doing that, Okay, so the method we're going to talk about is very complex and detailed. So we're not going to be able to fully get into it in this video, but we'll lay down a solid foundation. For the rest, you can check out our Shortform guide. Shortform makes the world's best guides to nonfiction books, complete with well-crafted short exercises to help you learn faster and remember more. You can get a 5-day free trial and a discounted annual subscription if you go to shortform.com/YouTube. Click the link in the description below. And for more great book summary videos, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button. If you find this video helpful, click the like button and let us know what you think. Okay, here we go. Get ready, this is gonna be a lot of information, but it's gonna be good. Before we get started, you're probably wondering what makes this method better than any other method for getting things done. Why should you even bother with this video? Because I'm starring in it. No, okay, that's not why. Maybe a little bit. To answer that question, we need to consider two foundational realities of the modern world. One, our personal time is managed differently than it used to be. Jobs are no longer restricted to the typical 9 to 5. Many of us are working constantly, and technology makes us both personally and professionally available at all times. This means there are no clear boundaries. Traditional to-do lists and calendars are just not enough to keep up with the daily overload of responsibilities. Two, the nature of our work has changed from the traditional model. We are no longer in the industrial age. Work projects are far more ambiguous, much less likely to have clearly defined steps for completion, or any mark of completion at all. Because of that, tasks themselves and the to-do lists that keep track of them are not as straightforward as they used to be. One task without a clear end signal could take up a ton more of your time than you expect. What does this mean? It means, in short, we need a new system that fits with the enmeshed reality of our modern world. We need a system that encapsulates small detailed tasks as well as larger tasks. A system that can help us organize the personal and the professional. That system also needs to be simple and fit in with the context of our big picture life goals. So then what should that system look like? Well, the traditional system is what you might call a top-down approach to organization. In the top-down approach, you start with your big picture goals and values. Then you break that down into the smaller goals and tasks that align to the big picture stuff. This doesn't work anymore because, 1. It's too easy to get distracted by new tasks or demands that feel immediate, like an urgent text from your boss at 8 p.m., asking you to focus on a new project instead of your current one. Not good. This can quickly get you off track from your big picture. And 2, the simple act of focusing on the big picture first can bring up a steady stream of new tasks and goals. For example, if your big picture goal is about making more money, you might just take on a bunch of responsibilities that support that goal, but don't fit well in the general structure of your life. This causes overload instead of relief. Wow, I don't relate to this one at all. I'm so tired. So what do we do instead? The solution is a bottom-up approach, which is what I'm going to teach you in this video. With a bottom-up approach, you ignore the big picture stuff at first. Can you believe it? Spicy, I know. Instead, you focus on getting all of your little tasks and projects organized and completed, so you can free up energy to eventually focus on the big picture stuff. And that way, you also have a system in place for when you inevitably come up with more tasks from focusing on your larger goals. So since this book is about giving you your time back, let's dive right into a shortened overview of the steps for actually achieving the bottom-up approach to organization. Technically, there are 5 steps to the process, but we've split them into 3 phases. Phase 1 is called Capture and Clarify. Sounds like a band name or like an album name or something. I like that. Capture and Clarify. It's about figuring out what is actually on your to-do list, and then coming up with the first next step toward getting that task completed. What's the best way to take stock of that to-do list? How exactly do you round up everything taking up your precious mental energy? Well, before you do anything else, you need to get a workspace ready and set aside a couple of full days to get this whole thing up and running. The workspace should be a physical space you feel productive in. A good rule of thumb for a workspace is to include a writing surface, a space for any important digital devices, and an in-tray. The in-tray is where you're going to put everything you need to get done, or a note about it, so you can organize it later. Next, you gotta get your tools together. This means grabbing any materials you might use for organizing your lists, like notebooks, phone, tablets, calendars, file folders, notepads, etc. This also means getting together support tools, like a pen or pencil, paper clips, tape, sticky notes, and a trash or recycling bin to help keep your space clean. Anything you think might be valuable to you during this process. To be clear, this process is about organizing your whole life, not just your professional life. This includes getting rid of old clothes you don't need anymore, or finally making that overdue doctor's appointment. If you've seen Eat That Frog with me, you know I struggle with that last one. Then it's time to get to the first part of sorting out your to-do list. This involves splitting organization into 2 categories: physical items and mental items. For physical items, basically you want to identify any tangible item that represents something incomplete that's taking up your energy. Things like old papers you're not sure you need anymore, task reminder notes, remnants of unfinished projects, or even belongings you've been thinking about donating forever. Then either put it in the in-tray, or if it's too large, write it on a sticky note and put that in the tray. Include things on bulletin boards, countertops, desktops, desk drawers, etc. Basically, do a full sweep of all your spaces. And anything you don't need, throw it in the trash immediately. I am so bad about this. I graduated high school in 2016, and only 2 months ago did I finally throw out my AP US history binder because I was convinced I would need those notes. I did not study history in college. I was a music major. Why would I need them? I was very concerned. But boy, it felt so good when I finally threw those out after 6-7 years. For mental items, take stock of anything in your brain taking up mental energy, time, or attention. Thoughts, ideas, projects, goals. Maybe it's a repair you've been meaning to take care of, a flight you still need to book, or upcoming birthdays you need to remember. Mine is August 19th for anyone who wanted to know and wanted to send me a late birthday gift, so. Write every single thing down on its own piece of paper or note and drop it in the in-tray. This will feel inefficient, but trust me, it's gonna make the next part of this phase a lot easier. After you've got your full list, the next step is to figure out exactly what needs to be done to complete each item on the list, and what the first action would be to move towards completion. We'll call that last part your next actions list. Clarifying the next action before each task is key, because sometimes not knowing exactly what to do to get started on a task is enough to keep you avoiding it forever. Knowing where to start makes tasks feel way less overwhelming. So for each task on your list, figure out what's the very first physical step you can take to make progress on it. For example, let's say one of the items on your list is washing your car. Maybe the first physical step towards completing this is to gather all of the cleaning supplies you need. It's a lot less stressful to take action on washing your car if you have all the tools ready to go. After you've broken all of your items down into a next actions list, there are usually about 7 different directions you could go in next for each item. We'll focus on 4 of them. 1. Label the item as a project. A project is anything that has more than one step and can be completed within a year. All projects can be noted and put into a pending file. 2. Complete the item. If the next action will take less than 2 minutes, just get it done. 3. Delegate the item. If the next action will take more than 2 minutes, figure out if you might be able to delegate it to someone else. If you can, mark it with a sticky note that says who you're delegating it to and place it into the pending pile. If you can't delegate, mark it as next action and put it in the pending pile. 4. Or defer the item. If it's not a very important or time-sensitive item, go ahead and label it as a someday maybe item. Put it in the pending pile and put a reminder in your calendar to revisit it. The next phase is about organization and reflection. The first part of this is a hugely important step. This is where you tangibly organize all those tasks into actual files, written or typed lists, and/or calendar entries. The author goes into a lot of details about different ways to do this, which can be a bit overwhelming. So for this video, the important thing is to focus on getting it all out into some type of external system. It's less important what that system actually is. For example, maybe you put a bunch of your mental items into a calendar. Maybe tasks you can get started on immediately can go onto lists. The first thing you should do during this stage is to see if there are any items you could trash, meaning remove a task from your list. Or if it's an actual physical item you don't need anymore, throw it in the literal trash. This is something you should consistently check in about throughout the process. Anything you realize you don't need, trash it. A huge part of this process is going to involve something called your pending pile. Every single thing in this pile can be sorted into one of 7 categories. Number 1. Project list. This is a list of all the in-progress projects you're working on. You should have information here about what the finish line is for each project, so you're always able to easily figure out the project's next action. Number 2. Project support materials. This category deals with anything you need to complete your projects on your project list. It'll be things like project plans, research, invoices, or any other relevant documents or materials. Number 3, waiting for list. On this list, you'll put any task that you're waiting on someone or something else to take an action on before you can complete it. It can also be tasks or items you've delegated. Number 4, someday maybe list. This is a list you're going to want to check in on frequently, so you have a sense of when the best timing is to get started on these tasks or items. Number 5, tickler file. I know, the name is whack. In the guide, we call it a tickler file because it's meant to tickle your memory. Ugh, can't believe I had to say that sentence. Anyway, anything in this category is going to be related to things way in the future. For example, maybe you set up your annual physical exam, but it's not for 3 months, and you're keeping your appointment reminder card in this file. Number 6, calendar. The calendar is only for specific things that have to happen on a certain day and/or time. Appointments, project deadlines, important reminders. Don't load your calendar with anything outside of this criteria. You've got limited space. Number 7, next actions. You already know about this one. We did a deep dive on it a minute ago. I don't want to overload you with info, so we'll cap the organized section there. Like I said, the book and the guide are packed with info if you want more. The other component of this phase is reflection. This is pretty simple for the most part. It's basically about continually evaluating all your tasks and how you can make more efficient choices to complete or manage them. It's best to do reflection on a daily and weekly basis. For the daily check-in, take a look at your calendar and your next actions list, so you're always aware of the time you need to block out for certain tasks, as well as tasks you can make progress on whenever you have time available. For your weekly check-ins, try focusing on the following. Revisit phase 1 and capture or clarify anything new or old that hasn't been addressed. Do a master review or update all of your existing files, calendars, lists, etc. Reflect on your overall organization system and make any beneficial adjustments. Give some attention to your big picture goals and values, and make sure all of your smaller tasks feel aligned. I gotta emphasize here that you will never be able to organize your to-do list perfectly. There's just way too high of a likelihood that new tasks will be added every day. So just do your best to stay on top of your management throughout this process of reflection. It'll keep you from hitting that point of no return kind of overwhelm. The final phase is where things get really productive. Yay! Woo! Finally! The goal of this phase is to basically consult your next actions list and work on completing your tasks. There are several approaches in the book for the most productive ways to get into action, but we'll focus on one method called the 4 criteria model. You can narrow down your choices on what to take action on next by considering the following. Context. Certain tasks require certain locations or tools. Sorting all of your next actions into context-specific lists can be extremely helpful. For example, if one of your tasks requires travel, you know completing that task will require more extensive planning. Unless there's a specific urgency to its completion, you might put it lower on the priority list. Time available. Some tasks require more time than others. That means, for example, if one of your things takes an hour to complete and you only have 30 minutes, this is probably not the action to focus on. For example, tidying the surface on your work desk is going to take a lot less time than bringing your car to the car wash. Energy available. Some tasks require more energy or a different type of energy than others. It's important to be mindful of that and only take on actions you have the right energy for. You need a different kind of energy to train for a marathon than you do to complete a job application. Some tasks are more urgent or important than others. Prioritizing is a pretty intuitive process, so it's best evaluated after you've narrowed things down with the 3 factors before this one, and try to keep your big picture in mind while you're figuring out what to prioritize. Consider the 3 examples from the previous criteria. Given what you know about them, how would you prioritize them? Let us know in the comments. Fun little exercise. Like I said, this method is just meant to help you on synthesizing and integrating all of your tasks. I know I'm a broken record about this, but there's a ton more in the guide, so keep that in mind. And sadly, that's all the time we have for today. Just a brief overview. But at the end of the day, if what you want is to focus less mental energy on your to-do list, so you can focus more energy on being present in your life, then getting things done has a ton of strategies for achieving that. You've got nothing to lose. So check out our short form guide and commit to getting things done. Then come back to this video and let us know in the comments how it worked out for you. Don't forget, you can get a 5-day free trial and a discounted annual subscription if you go to shortform.com/YouTube. Click the link in the description below and support the author and publisher by buying Getting Things Done. A link to buy the book is below as well. And finally, hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss the next short form video. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Get some things done, guys.